Hey folks, Andy here. Thanks for joining me. Right, I got a question from a friend of mine. They've been doing some recorded a bunch of guitar parts, and wanted to know if they should be high-pass filtering. High-pass filtering is basically where you take an EQ that allows the signal above a certain frequency range to pass and gets rid of the signal below it. And given that the low E string on a standard guitar is around about 80 hertz-ish, you figure you can probably get rid of everything below about 60 without even thinking about it, because all you're going to get down there is noise and rumble that will take up space in your mix, and that's going to throw overtones up into the audible frequency range and cause that horrible low mid-range mush that it's so hard to get rid of in a lot of recordings. You might even make an artistic decision that says, I want the way my guitar and bass fit together to be very clean, and I'm going to high pass higher than that frequency, up to 80, maybe even 100 hertz, so that I've got a clear differentiation between where my bass sits and where my guitar sits. But certainly that low below 60 stuff, you should be able to get rid of without even stopping and thinking about it. So why would you not do it? Well, this is the debate that ranges. If you apply an EQ either in the hardware world or most of the time in the software world, you delay the signal through the EQ, and that causes the phase of your signal to shift. Now, if you have got, say you're recording with a real amp and you've got a cab and you've got one microphone pointing at that cabinet, then you can shift the phase of that signal pretty much wherever you want to, and you're not going to hear it because you've got nothing to compare it with. If you have two microphones and you've carefully aligned the capsules so that the sound waves are hitting them at the same time, and then you shift the phase of one of those, you're going to start introducing that sort of hollow, phasey sound that we don't like most of the time. So what do we do about this? And is it even real? Well, let's have a little look and see if it's real or not. And if we zoom in on the waveform, it kind of does what we'd expect it to. It goes up and down. Right. Underneath the green track is a blue one. It's an exact duplicate that I have inverted. And that simply means that for every point where the green track goes down, the blue track goes up in the same place by the same amount. If I play the both of them together, there's just the green together. And you can see they completely cancel out. And the reason that they cancel out is because the waveforms are absolutely identical, but one is upside down to the other one. Those tracks are perfectly in phase. If I play them together and just shove one of them along the timeline a little bit, which is what a phase shift is. So I'm just going to move the green track a tiny bit. No longer cancelling. Bring them back into alignment. And there you go, back perfectly in alignment. So that is what true phase shift sounds like. You drift out of complete cancellation. You can really hear that. Okay, so what do we want to experiment with on this? I think the first thing is, can you hear the difference between the inverted and the non-inverted versions? And I'm going to suggest that, to my mind, if you can't hear the difference between the inverted and non-inverted, then you're not going to hear the difference between something that's slightly phase shifted when it is there on its own right. So here's the green. The blue. I can't hear a difference there. So I'm going to say that if you have got a performance with a single recording, say a single microphone on a cab, you can do pretty much what you like with a phase. You're really not going to hear a difference in it. Okay, now on my blue track, I have got a plugin. It's called Frequency. It's an EQ plugin from Steinberg, and it's got various EQ points and filters on it. If I just bypass that for a moment, just to check that we are still cancelling. If I activate the plugin, the plugin's now active and we're still cancelling. That tells us it's a well-behaved plugin. It's not doing anything untoward. If I take one of these points and apply some EQ somewhere on it, we don't cancel, turn it off, and we're back to being perfectly well behaved. Right. Mute the green track and listen to just the blue track. And I'm going to toggle on and off this cut. This is a 20 Hertz. It's quite a steep one. It's 48 dB per octave. I've done this to make everything that we're doing sort of really clear to hear. I wouldn't usually use something quite this vicious, but I'm going to toggle this on and off, and we're going to see how much difference it makes to what we can hear on the track. So this is just the blue track. And to me, I can hear absolutely no effect from that. I mean, it's down at 20 Hertz, for goodness sake. I'm hearing absolutely no effect of that on the sound. Right. I'm going to bring in my green track again and just remind ourselves, total cancellation. I'm going to bring that same filter in. And suddenly we're hearing signal. And we're hearing signal that's going up to, what, 4 or 5K? As a result of that filter that we could not hear doing anything at all. That is because it is changing the phase of the blue track. And because it's changing the phase, it's no longer perfectly cancelling with the green. So that tells us that, yes, absolutely, high-pass filtering is going to change the phase of our track. We've determined it really doesn't matter if it's one on its own, but if you've got a pair of phase-aligned tracks, or if you're perhaps picking up lead in another set of mics somewhere, it is going to make a difference. So what can we do about it? Well, what if we simply apply the same filter to both tracks? I just copied that plugin onto the green track, and now we're cancelling again. Bypass one of them, not cancelling. Bypass the other one, not cancelling. But the same filter on both tracks brings in the exact same phase shift, so we cancel out once again. If that doesn't seem to be working for you, another thing that you could do is take the two tracks and send them to a group. So our tracks are now playing through this group. You can see there we've got complete cancellation out the group, mute one of these, and we can see that on the group track. Bypass frequency there, bypass frequency there, but then just simply put our filter on the group track. Good as gold, makes absolutely no difference to anything. We've got perfect cancellation again. So, two approaches. One, stick filter on all of your tracks identically. Two, stick it on a bus group track. And the final alternative that we're going to look at is if I then change this over to a linear phase. Not quite perfect, but so good that you're really not going to worry too much about that. So there you go. We've seen it and we've heard it. Absolutely. High-pass filtering can mess with the phase of your tracks, but a lot of the time it's not going to matter. And if it does matter, it's really easily solved. There is no reason not to do it. Just give it a little bit of attention. Treat it as part of the prep for a mix session. It's not even an artistic mix decision. It's just an engineering cleanup job. Okay, I hope this is useful. If it is, give us a thumbs up. That is always much appreciated. Hit subscribe, hit the little bell button. Until next time, look after yourselves. I'm Andy Pickett. I'll see you then. Bye for now.